Hello and welcome to Night Vlog. Jeez, I gotta turn the brightness down so it's not so much of my glasses. There we are. Okay, good. I wanted to do a quick vlog, which means it'll be about 38 minutes. Calling it now. Before I do. I wanted to do a quick vlog about the MAGBlues. I thought about it more this morning, and it doesn't really seem like a whole lot of people are talking about it. But I thought I would make a video on it anyway because I feel like it. It maybe, I don't know. I always like trying to make things that help people get over this sort of thing because it kind of hits hard. And I wanted to explore the reasons why, and then that's about it, really. I would say, like, here's solutions, but I don't have a ton of them for you, honestly. Yeah. So why do we get the MAGBlues, man? What's with that? We had a good time. There's that one saying, don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened, and like, wow. That's a big kind of bullshit answer, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that it happened, but like, man, it sucks that it's over. I think in a lot of cases, it's just because like it is over, you know. That's quite simply it. The fact that it has to end. But there's a lot of reasons, and I'm going to talk about them now. I'm doing real well. Hi, hello. Yes, I'm tired. Anyway, so why do we get the MAGBlues? Why do we not just smile because it happened? Because it's over. First of all, it's because MAGFest is a freaking dream world. It is this weird thing that should not be. It is a weird thing that just should not exist when you start thinking about it. It's like a place where a bunch of nerds hang out, right? And are friendly with each other and talk about nerd things. I always talk about this. I always talk about how special. This is what I did during work today. I wrote notes for this video actually, because I did not feel like working. I mean, I still worked obviously, but here we are. But no, MAGFest is a very, very strange thing because theoretically speaking, there's just not a whole else like it. I mean, cons, it's a con obviously, but like I don't know, there's something special about it. I mean, MAGFest is a place where you can go and like everybody speaks the common language that nobody else in real life speaks. You can just like talk to people about random video games and they might know what it is, but like more than that, on a basic level, there's like a respect for your identity at MAGFest, right? I think it's mostly young people. So like, I feel like I'm sure a lot of people go there and, find it a safe space to sort of experiment with their identity. Who do they want to be? How do they want to present? Whether that's gender identity or some other sort of identity that you can't normally express, because there are a lot of things that we hide away. But here you can be just completely somebody else if you want to for a weekend, which is a really cool prospect. That's a cool thing. I mean, it's the only place where you can walk into a place and exchange cash money for products that are just completely unthought of anywhere else. I mean, you can buy Xenoblade merch and Tui merch and just all sort of things that there's just nowhere else to find it, in a physical space. That's such a cool feeling to see the things that you love on sale. You know what I mean? In a way like that. Like I said, there's a common language. I think that even if you went to MAGFest without friends, you can make friends at MAGFest because somebody's going to like the things that you like. You know what I mean? If I were more aggressive about it, all of the people that come up to me and ask me about this hoodie right here, I could make friends with them. I'm going to talk about that more in the actual like summary vlog, but I wanted to mention here because you can make friends. All you got to do is be listening in. All you got to do is find somebody in a cosplay from something you like, or wearing a shirt. Now I saw more Xenoblade shirts than I ever have because of that Yeti thing that happened this year. You can make friends, and I did the first time. The first time I went to MagFest, I went there to meet Tim and Emil, and that was it. But I actually made some friends while in the 3 hours that I was there who remembered me the next year, which was really crazy. Oddly enough, I really don't see them much anymore, but yeah, crazy thing. I mean, MagFest is just this weird thing. It just doesn't feel possible because the other days of the year, it's just not there. It's just not there. Look, I've seen the Gaylord without MagFest at it. It's weird. It's weird, man. It's not right. And it just does not exist. It is not a place that you can go to whenever. And it kind of makes sense that it only exists for about 3 days because, man, it's something that sounds so like too good to be true. We get to take over, us nerdy people get to take over a space for a couple of days. It's an amazing little experiment. I think that's one of the reasons that we love it, right? It's this just crazy place where you can be who you want and you can be somebody different and you can, the vibes are just immaculate. It's just so much fun, The vibe is infectious at MagFest. It's like you can be having a bad day and, you go out there and there are people partying and carry on and having a good time and, celebrating the games that they're passionate about and the different series. It's a good time. It's just like MagFest, even without all of the other stuff I'm going to talk about, is just a good time. And I think that that's a big reason why it's hard to leave, because you can't come back to it for another year. It's just done. Once it's done, it's done. That's it. It will not exist. It's not a place that you can go to. It's not Disney World. You can go to Disney World anytime, as long as you're willing to drop the $5,000 on it or whatever the fuck. It just... That's, MagFest doesn't always exist. It can't. It would be too good. It would be too good for us, man. My second big point. Your friends are real. This is the biggest thing. This is the biggest point that I'm going to make. Because at MagFest, you get to, prove to yourself that your friends that you speak with online are real. And that is a hell of a good feeling. There's just a certain amount of validation that comes with meeting your internet friends in real life. It's hard to describe, but it's just like what I wrote in my notes was flesh sack happiness, which basically just means there's a certain joy that comes from being in person, that comes with seeing a live head in 4D, laughing with you and reacting with you, and you get to learn who these people are through their body language. How do they move? What do they, how do they move? How do they exist in space, right? How do they exist relative to you in real life, in life size, right? There's just something immensely satisfying to the primal part of my brain that can put people into that sort of space. And I think it makes our monkey brains happy when we're actually with people, right? And it feels validating because, I know a lot of families find internet friends a little weird or a little bit hard to to stomach. Some people just think that they're not real friends, and then when you go to MagFest, it's yeah, they are real friends. What's amazing to me is a lot of people, there were quite a few people who were there for their first time, but let me tell you, year after year, it's still nice to see those people again, to see how they change year to year, and to come back a year later only to be surprised that they're still happy to see you. There have been some people that I talk to more at MagFest than I do for the rest of the year. and I'll go into MagFest thinking, man, I'm really not that special to them. I don't even know if they like me anymore. And sure enough, they're happy to see me, and they're happy to greet me, and I love that. That's such a good feeling. It feels like you kind of just pick right up where you left off. So if this was your first MagFest, you have that to look forward to. The fact that you're gonna pick right up where you left off. And I feel that way. I look forward to seeing people next year, even if I may not talk to them. I mean, I hope I will, but it just happens, especially a lot with me, where sometimes MagFest is where I could name a couple people right now where it's like those are the only people I talk to. I only talk to them at MagFest, so yeah. But yeah, I mean, just being friends, feeling like you have an in-person friend group. A lot of people that go to MagFest are not the outgoing, overly social type, and getting to be with familiar people and be in a group with them, I think is something that is incredibly rewarding, because it makes you feel like you have a real life friend group. You know what I mean? And it's just the people are really the best part of MagFest. It's so cool to see that people care, that people will talk to you, that people will, compliment parts of you. And there's something very, just so good, just so nice about all that. And it's just like, man, you want that. Everyone wants that, right? Like it's pretty easy to figure out why it sucks to leave MagFest, because man, I'm leaving a whole bunch of people that are happy to see me behind, right? It's like we got to split up now. We have to stop being IRL friends because we all live across the country. It sucks. It's so much fun getting all of these people in one place, and learning more about them. Like I said, how they exist in 4D space. Some people are better in real life than they are on voice call, because you can better ascertain their tone from their body language and from the way they move and from the way they act and the way they react around it. You learn so much about your internet friends when you get to meet them in real life, and just spend time with them, which is great. That's the biggest thing. It's so hard to leave your friends. It's so hard to a lot of people that I know that have been going for years, right? Going to MagFest for years, have said that if you just took away the MagFest part of it and you still had the friends, there'd still be MagFest. That's the core of it, right? Because you don't really, some people, that was a huge stutter, good Lord. A lot of people, don't really go to panels, or they're not really interested in panels. I just went to one this year. I didn't go to any concerts, although I did watch some from my room, which was cool. But you could take away so much of what MagFest means and just have all those people together, with a Switch and just play games, and it would still be a grand old time. You know what I mean? So to me, that's what's at the core of this. It's the reason I keep coming back to MagFest, is because there's all these friends here, and I want to see them, and I want to live with them for a couple of days and be part of their lives, and that just feels good to me. You just make memories so much quicker and so much more vividly when you're with someone, and to have that chance and then lose it and then have it be forcibly made to fade. Yeah, I mean, that is tough, I mean, it's a goddamn shame. At that point, it's a goddamn shame that MagFest is so short, because you want it to be longer, you want to be able to do this. It sucks that you can't do this. All these people are great, it sucks that they can't be, there for you in person all the time, as I'm sure they want to be, because I know I would want to be. So yeah, your friends are real. That's a big point. Third point, vacation is nice. It's nice to be able to get away, not think about work. A lot of my friends are out of college. A lot of my MagFest friends are out of college now. Many of them used to be in college. Many of you were in college for the longest goddamn time. I was in college when I started going to MagFest. But yeah, now I work. I've been working for the past 7 MagFests, and the vacation is nice. It's so nice. Life at MAGFest is pretty simple. You eat whenever, and you have good food, and you don't have to worry about all this other shit. A lot of people don't have to worry about their cars. A lot of people don't have to worry about commuting. They can just stay in the same couple of blocks for the entire extended weekend, and it's nice. Life is very simple. It's literally like eat, sleep, play video games. Like, that's it, you know. I mean, vacation is always nice, you know. MAGFest is not necessarily something that you need to spend your entire week's vacation on, although it's getting to be that way, because like with day 0 and then the day after, and by God, I wish I had taken today off. There's just so much. It's nice to have a long break, but man, I do tell you, the downside of MAGFest is that I need a vacation from the vacation. And by the time MAGFest rolls around, we've been through the holidays. We've been through like a lot of holidays. And man, I'm going to crash so hard against the upcoming 2-day weekend, which I have not had in about 5 weeks. But the vacation while you're there is very nice. You just don't have to worry about anything. Once you're there, everything is great. So that's another big reason. Vacation ending is always something that's going to depress you. I was a wreck when I came back from Disney. I'm a wreck if I spend 5 days at home and then have to go to work the next day. So yeah, I mean, that's always a tough thing to come back from. But just not being at your, soul sucking job is always a bonus. If that's the way it goes for you. So the other thing, and I guess I should have put this category somewhere else, is that you are real, right? At MAGFest, you can be you. I've already touched on this a little bit. There is no normal. There are dudes walking around in giant suits of armor. There are people who paint themselves different colors, right? Red and green and all that stuff. There are people who walk around with no pants on because that's just how their cosplay is. That's real. I mean, they're covered, but there was a dude who just like his tank top just kind of curled right under, and that was it. And I would not walk around like that, but you sure fucking can. But yeah, I mean, at MAGFest, you can have a completely different persona from everywhere else. I mean, if you want to go down there and be, I'm trying to think of a funny name, and the names I'm coming up with are ridiculous. But, you can be whoever you want to be down there. You don't have to be who you are at work. You don't have to hold yourself back if you don't want to. You can be you can just be you. You get to be you for a weekend. You might like who you are at MAGFest more than you like who you are anywhere else, because MAGFest allows you to be someone in front of people. It's a version of you that is concentrated in, having friends and support and expressing your passions for certain games and things that you like about games. You are able to be that person. I've always said that, man, I just look better at MAGFest, right? Like, there's just something about it where it's like, if, I'm looking in the mirror at the Gaylord and I'm like, I look good. I look good today. And I've noticed that a couple of times. And I think part of it's because, you're in good vibes. And when you have good vibes, you look better. So it's kind of hard to let that person go and go back to being the quiet person who doesn't want to hop into the voice chat because there's too many people, or that will stay quiet, or that won't participate in things because you don't feel like you're going to be seen. But if you're like a physical, visual presence there, then that's a little bit different. So you might not like who you have to go back to being. I find it way easier to communicate and exist with people in real life at something like MAGFest, because people kind of have to acknowledge a little bit that you're there and taking up space. And if you're going to take up space, then you might as well be heard, at least at some point. So that's kind of a big deal. And I just, it's so cool to be able to be me. And then the next point, of course, is that once MAGFest is over, it's back to reality. and we live in a capitalist nightmare where it's like, there is a high chance, just based on statistics, that wherever you work does not really care about you as much as they should, or at least, or very least, as much as people at MagFest do. I think a lot of it's weird how mainstream games are. It's weird how the gaming is a bigger industry than like movies and music combined now, and yet like gaming is not within the public eye. Talking about games has not really become this thing that the public does. Video games are still this weird thing, like, oh, that's a video game. Like if you see video games on your local news, that's pretty impressive, and they usually talk about it like they're surprised to see that video games are still going. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that new Halo is releasing. My God, they're still doing that. Like, yes, of course they are. It's a huge industry, but it hasn't pierced the cultural. It has not pierced the cultural something fold, I think is the word I want to say, like movies and music have, where like those things are way more acceptable to talk about, whereas video games are still pretty niche, so it's a little hard, so I don't know, it's just weird. Voice calls just hit different after MagFest because you lose something. You just lose something, and it kind of sucks. And that's just unfortunate. The only thing that I have found is like time just helps. You know what I mean? MagFest also signifies, like I said, the loss of free time that comes with the holidays ending, especially now because. MagFest this year being later kind of extended the holidays, so that's pretty sad. And I don't know about other people, but like when I come home from MagFest, sometimes things get existential, right? Like MagFest is so enjoyable that I just come back. I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Why am I subjecting myself to this job in this economy, doing this sort of thing? It's like why? I just sometimes I get a little existential. Am I, are things going to change after this? Are people going to recognize me more? There's a bit of uncertainty where it's like you sort of feel like you've gotten closer to people, but sometimes you haven't, and you only figure that out once next MagFest approaches, and it's kind of depressing. Some people you feel closer with, like you've made friends with, they don't end up like really amounting to anything, and that's always really it's a hard pill to swallow, because that's a big part of the optimism of MagFest, is that you can't really tell how much of an impact you had until after everything's over, and until after time has passed, and then there's always this question of, how long do you feel sad? When do you move on? Moving on is hard. Moving on is just hard, because I've often found myself wondering that question. Well, how much of an impact do I admit that MagFest had on me, right? And given that impact, when do I stop mourning? It's not mourning, I guess. When do I stop lamenting that it's over, right? When do I let those emotions go? Is it too soon, or is it, should it be longer? Or, should I be getting over it now? I don't know if anybody else feels that, but like there are certain things where it's like if I stop feeling bad about something too soon, I feel bad about that, because it's like I just don't feel as strongly as I used to. Sometimes feeling things strongly is desirable no matter the emotion, because it's just nice to feel things. You know what I mean? I feel like sometimes we numb ourselves to the mundane existence that we live. Boy, am I telling on myself here? Somebody else feels this, right? But like, and MagFest is a tale of extremes, right? Like MagFest is on like the extreme of like, this is what life is like when it's really good. It is a dream world. It cannot exist 365 because it's just not sustainable. It will lose something if you let it go for longer than it needs to be. And on the other extreme, of course, is like, man, life is shitty. You go back to a crappy home or a super crappy job, or both, and it just like everything sucks. So both are the extremes, but like when do you, when do they? I kind of lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. Where do they go? So I don't know. Going back to reality is tough because MagFest is that dream world, that where all of your friends are real and exist and are warm and in the flesh. Um, and going back to reality it's just hard, man. It's just hard. It's like, I sat at my desk this morning at work and I was like, what the fuck? This shit again. You just, for whatever reason, your brain feels like, oh, MagFest, this is way better. This is just like the best thing. Why don't I do this all the time? And then you get back to work and you're like, yeah, it doesn't keep going. It's hard to accept that. It's hard to accept that you just can't go back there. Your friends split up. They're all over the place, and this is reality, and MagFest is the dream, unfortunately, and we wake up. So at the bottom here, I put good news. And I do have good news for you. If you're still within like the first 5 years of MagFest, or if you're below the age of 30, I have good news for you. The time between MagFest gets shorter every year. I have to say, the time between MagFest 2023 and 2024 felt like a month. When I was coming back to National Harbor, I was like, wow, I feel like I was just here. The more times you go to MagFest, the more you realize it comes around. It does come around. It's not like something you have to, like the first time, especially if you've been waiting to go to MagFest for years, which I cannot imagine because that is not my experience. I went to the first one that I knew about. It's nice that it can very easily become a yearly thing for you. I don't know. For some people, I'm sure that's not feasible because of how much it costs. But, if it does become a yearly thing, you'll realize it does come every year, and it's really not that long. And of course, as you age, all time gets shorter, and that's terrifying. But the consolation prize to that is that next month is MagFest. Like, you start to realize that okay, well, we're going to be doing this again soon anyway, so here we go. Time is terrifying. So yeah, I just, I think a couple other ways to stave off the MAGBlues. Yeah, voice chat doesn't hit quite the same, but it's better than nothing. I just feel, just keep checking in on people. DM them, see how they are. What are they doing? How's it going? What are they up to? What are they thinking about? What was their favorite part? DM them. DM me. If you're watching this and like we haven't talked, like DM me and tell me what you're thinking. Just keep checking in on people. They'll love to hear from you. I'll love to hear from you. It's so nice to, again, one of the big things I love about MagFest is that it makes me feel like I'm cared about in that moment, because people at MagFest are just nicer than they are online. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but like people will like compliment me more. People will talk about me more. That's the place where people choose to say, hey, look, Funk, we appreciate you. I'm glad you're my friend. I'm glad you're here. All that shit. Say it to me anyway. Like, say it to me on the internet. And I want to hear it, whether it's in text or whatever. It's very nice. And I try to message people and see how they are. Again, I love those MagFest. I kind of love those MagFest threads where people on Twitter just go through and say, hey, thanks for showing me a good time. And then they at you and say, a special memory that they have or whatever. Do those. Those are cool. I get jealous at those myself, but I think that they're great. I'm always like, Christ, you should have 2 full tweets about me. Wasn't I the best part of your MagFest? But no, those are great. Tell people how you enjoyed them. Send them messages or write them notes to tell you how much you appreciated them and how much you want to get to know them throughout the year, and how, you want to just all of that, just keep talking to people, keep checking in on them, keep asking how they are, and all that stuff. You don't necessarily even need to really plan to do anything with them yet. Just tell them, I really enjoyed our time together. and I'm happy about it, and I want to get to know you more. Especially do that to the people you kind of only just met. Spark a friendship, dude. It's so cool. I have not done this very successfully, but I want it to be successful, which is why I'm talking about it here. So do that. my last bullet point here is, I guess I could be worse. And yeah, that's true. That's looking on the bright side a little bit. I guess it's good that the only thing I'm sad about right now is that I'm not in perfect dreamland world place that exists 4 days out of the year. If that's all that's going wrong in your life, then that's doing pretty well. That's not to discount anybody's issues or mine, because Lord knows I have them. Lord knows I've told him myself a lot of this video about my existential crises and whatnot. But I don't know. I think there was just one point during work today where I was like, I could be worse. And the truth is, yeah, I could be. I have had MAGBlues like so much worse than this in the past. I haven't cried. I used to cry outside of MAGFest. I used to want to cry. I remember just being utterly despondent the day after MAGFest, and I kind of was despondent yesterday, but those sorts of things happen, and it's okay for those to happen, but probably it could be worse, even if you do cry, even if you do feel strongly about things, even if you really don't want to do things for a couple of days, you could have it worse, I guess. It's a really weird point to make, but I think I just sort of wanted to point out to myself that I'm doing better this year than I have in years past. And I think a lot of people are doing fine. I haven't seen that much on the Discord, people talking about the MAGBlues and whatnot. So, I'm hoping, I'm hoping y'all feel okay. I'm hoping y'all are doing well. I'm hoping y'all don't feel this, but I just wanted to start a discussion about it, and provide a venue for people who are like, yeah, I want to do some post-mag reflection. I might make a video on that too. Specifically, like, what can we do this year to make it better for everybody? But I did want to, I don't know, I just wanted to make a video about it. And the fact that I'm doing it is pretty cool, because normally I do not act on videos like this on weeknights. So I also kind of just wanted to make a video because my vlog is not ready yet, but soon, maybe. Anyways, so if you are sad that it's over, smile because it happened, or don't, because I think that it's fine to not, I think it's fine to feel like shit because it's over and not just smile because it happened. Yeah, just, I hope you feel good. Comment below, whatever you want, just whatever, just say hi to me, just whatever. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you next mission. I can't say that yet. The MAGFest vlogs are not over. Hey, MAGBlues, I don't want to go to work tomorrow. Neither do you, even if you don't work.